Once upon a time, there were two twin brothers. They looked the same bright eyes, same happy smiles. But inside, they were very different. One brother was generous. He shared his toys. He helped others. Everyone loved him. The other brother was greedy. He kept everything for himself. He never thought of others. People did not trust him. The generous brother was content with what he had. He found joy in sharing and helping others. The greedy brother always wanted more. He was never satisfied, always wanting what others possessed. This difference in their hearts would soon be put to a test. Their father, a wise old man, decided to teach them a valuable lesson. The father called his sons to him. He had a serious look on his face, one that the sons had rarely seen before. "My sons," he said, "I am getting old. The time has come for me to decide who will inherit my fortune. I want to leave my fortune to the worthiest of you." The brothers listened intently, their hearts pounding with anticipation. Their father was a wealthy man, and the prospect of inheriting his wealth filled them with anticipation. They knew this was a pivotal moment in their lives. "I have devised a challenge," the father continued. "This challenge will test your character and determination. You will each embark on a journey. This journey will not only test your physical endurance, but also your moral compass. You must walk until sunset. The journey will be long, and you will face many challenges along the way. The one who returns with the most valuable treasure will inherit my fortune. Remember, value is not always measured in gold and jewels." The rules were simple, yet the task was not easy. Each brother pondered what might be considered the most valuable treasure. The journey would be long and arduous, testing their endurance and willpower. They would need to rely on their wits and strength. The mention of most valuable treasure sparked different thoughts in each brother's mind. One thought of kindness, the other of wealth. The generous brother thought of kindness, compassion, and perhaps a token of remembrance from his journey. He believed that true value lay in the good deeds he could do. However, the greedy brother's mind raced with images of gold, jewels, and other material riches. He was determined to find the most glittering treasure no matter the cost. The greedy brother started his journey with great haste, his eyes gleaming with the anticipation of finding untold riches. He ran, eager to cover as much ground as possible and find the most valuable treasures. His heart pounded with excitement, and his mind raced with thoughts of the wealth he would soon possess. He saw a sparkling stone by the roadside, its glimmer catching his eye like a beacon. A ruby, he thought, grabbing it with a triumphant grin. This was just the beginning, he believed. It was heavy, but he stuffed it into his bag, already bulging with other finds. He didn't care about the weight. His mind was set on accumulating more. He continued walking, his bag getting heavier with each treasure he found. The burden grew, but so did his greed. He picked up shiny pebbles, thinking they were gems, his eyes gleaming with every new addition, and collected handfuls of what he believed to be gold dust. Each handful felt like a promise of future wealth. As the sun rose higher, the greedy brother's pace slowed. The weight of his bag and the heat of the day began to take their toll. His legs ached, his back hurt, and his greed drove him to collect even more, believing each item to be more valuable than the last. He ignored the pain, driven by the thought of his growing fortune. He was so focused on finding treasures that he ignored the beauty of the world around him. The vibrant flowers, the singing birds, all went unnoticed. He didn't stop to help a lost child, whose eyes pleaded for guidance, or offer water to a thirsty traveler who sat by the roadside, parched and weary. His heart was cold, focused solely on his own gain. The world around him faded into the background as his obsession with wealth consumed him. Section 4. The Generous Twins' Journey. The generous brother set off at a steady pace. He knew the journey would be long, and he conserved his energy. He too came across beautiful stones and flowers. He admired them, picked a few to remember the journey, but didn't burden himself with their weight. He carried a small bag for water and food, knowing that sustenance was more valuable than any shiny object. As he walked, he encountered people along the road. He helped a farmer mend his fence, shared his food with a hungry family, and offered words of encouragement to fellow travelers. He wasn't looking for material treasures. He found joy in acts of kindness and compassion. Each encounter filled his heart with more joy and satisfaction than any gemstone could provide. Section 5. The Setting Sun. The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across the land. The greedy brother, exhausted and weighed down by his heavy bag, struggled to make his way back home. He was drenched in sweat, his muscles screamed in protest, and his breath came in ragged gasps. He looked at the setting sun with despair, knowing he wouldn't make it back in time. On the other hand, the generous brother, though tired from his journey, walked with a light heart. He had witnessed the beauty of the world, helped those in need, and collected memories far more valuable than any material possessions. As the sun began to set, he knew he wouldn't make it back home either, but he felt no regret or despair. Section 6. The Victor. Both brothers arrived back home long after sunset. The greedy brother stumbled in first, his bag overflowing with what he believed to be a fortune. He was exhausted, his body ached, and his spirit was broken. The generous brother arrived shortly after, carrying only a small bag and a heart full of joy. He was tired but content, his spirit lifted by the kindness he had shared. Their father greeted them warmly. He listened patiently as the greedy brother boasted about the treasures he had found. Then, he turned to the generous brother. "And what did you bring back, my son?" he asked. The generous brother smiled. "Father," he said, "I bring back a heart full of joy, memories of kindness shared, and the satisfaction of helping others. These are the most valuable treasures I found on my journey." Section 7. The Moral of the Tale. In every story there lies a lesson, a nugget of wisdom waiting to be uncovered. The wise father nodded, a knowing smile on his face. His eyes sparkled with the wisdom of years gone by. He announced, "My dear sons, you have both taught us valuable lessons today, lessons that will echo through the generations. Greed clouds judgment and weighs down the heart. It creates a fog that obscures our true path. It blinds us to the true treasures in life, kindness, compassion, and the joy of giving. These are the gems that shine the brightest." He looked at the generous brother, his eyes filled with pride, a pride that stemmed from seeing the values he cherished reflected in his son. True wealth lies not in what we possess, but in the richness of our spirit and the impact we have on the lives of others. It is the legacy we leave behind. And so, the generous brother inherited his father's fortune, not because of material wealth, but because of the wealth he carried in his heart, a wealth that could never be measured in gold or silver. The greedy brother, burdened by his own greed, learned a valuable lesson that day, a lesson that would change his life forever. Greed leads to loss, while generosity and wisdom pave the path to true success and happiness. In the end, it is the heart that truly matters.